Hi everyone. I gave birth 13 months ago, and I am a mom to a 17-year-old and 15-year-old as well. I have had different sides of parenting with the gap that they have. I wanted to give you a minimalist, sustainable list of things that you definitely need in the first full year of having a baby. As a minimalist, which there are not many of us in New Jersey, honestly, I wanted to share all of the things that I used for my latest baby and some things that maybe I used for my other babies that I was like, I'm not using that again. Or maybe even things that I wish they made that they don't have anymore. So let's just start off the bat with when you first have your baby, they give you the baby swaddled up. Now it's your decision if you want to keep using a swaddler for your baby. Out of my 3 babies, only the first liked to be swaddled. The other 2 wanted their arms out. I will say that for some babies, you might want to get a swaddler or something that keeps your baby contained. There are so many different options. You could just use a blanket to swaddle them. A lot of times it just makes them feel comfort because they're used to being in your womb. You need diapers. You could either do it old school with the cloth and the pins, like they did. From what I know, they stopped really using those come like the late 70s. When I had my first baby, there was a diaper service and I loved it. They would come and pick up all of the diapers, and it was cloth diapers. So all I needed was to have something to put the cloth diaper inside. And then they only did it for 3 months, and then there were no more diaper services in the area. So that was in 2007 that I gave birth to him. I was so devastated because it was awesome. I loved the diaper service so much. They would clean them and bring them back. These days, for options that I have for my current baby, sometimes I use these. Now, I don't have a washing machine or dryer at all, so I do everything by hand. So as soon as the next day or right after I go through a diaper, I have to wash it right away by hand. It's a little bit more difficult for me to do that. This is Nora's Nursery. I really love the way this feels. You could either put the cloth inside the diaper, or you could just have it on the outside. It is up to you. And then you button it according to the size of the baby. This does not really work for infants. This was too huge. I think this works perfectly for him being now a year old, maybe slightly before, but you would have to find a size that would fit a newborn if you want to do that. I absolutely love this brand. I know some people have their preference of what they use. Babies go through so many diapers, like literally. I can't even tell you how much money is spent on diapers. Disposable diapers, usually they last for about 350 years, one diaper, filled with the poop, the pee, and it is not good for the environment. There are plastics in it. It's not good. I tend to get the plant-based ones by Honest, or even the bamboo ones from Diaper. That's Dyper. And these, I feel like these hold so well. They absorb really well and they break down much more quickly. Something else that you don't need is a diaper genie or a diaper pail of some sort. I had one for my firstborn. Over time, when you were putting dirty diapers in that single thing over and over again, you get a very, very smelly garbage bag, and you might not even throw that out every single day. And it smells, and you can smell it. I really highly want to recommend that you just use a regular garbage. It doesn't smell as badly, and I'm gonna be serious with you on that. If you want to hide the smells, get a diffuser, put some essential oils in there that can mask smells really well. I literally had people come over while I have my baby with his poopy diapers, and they go, wow, your home smells great. When you give a baby a bath, I don't have a bathtub, I have a sink. And I have a shower. So what I needed was one of these, and I used something like this for my second baby. And did I use it for the first? I had a little sponge thing for my first, and then I had something like this for the second and for the third. So I keep it in this bag that it came in. It has a little thing that you could put inside your sink, and then the baby sits in there so it doesn't get its head hurt if they're slippery. Okay, so this holds them in better place. So I will use this for a while until I feel like there's no need for it anymore. For maybe after another year, I'll probably use this. This is awesome. And then you could just hang it somewhere to dry after you squeeze out the water, and it dries within a night. And then you need a comb. I prefer using bamboo. I have a bamboo brush as well with bristles. The comb I use more. When you bathe your baby, you really don't even need shampoo or anything like that, because a baby's skin is very sensitive and it can absorb all the different toxins and stuff that's really not good for their skin. So don't use lotion even. I do have an Honest lavender shampoo that I use for my baby. To go with your diapering, you need wipes. You go through a lot of wipes. You could either use just a cloth and you could reuse it, which is definitely great. Just wet the cloth. For me, it's easier to use the Honest brand. Again, these break down faster than other wipes. Also for bath time. Now, this is something that most people will not say in their lists at all, but I have a really hard time. I think because I've washed dishes for so long by hand, I've done hand washing clothes, that things that are really hot, I don't feel the heat. I have a resistance to high heat, and my sons are always like, whoa, that's hot. And I'm like, oh, is it? Because I'm just so used to it. So I needed something like this. This is probably the only thing plastic that I have bought. I would love to find a different type, but this tells you the temperature. You could change it to Celsius or Fahrenheit. It will show a red dot if it's too hot, and it will show blue if it's too cold, and you want it right in between there. This is amazing. It floats on the water and the baby could play with it. I love it. One thing that babies use, something to suck out the snot from their nose. They get a lot of snot in the beginning of their first days, first couple months. So this thing, I only got this for my last baby. I had the one that the hospital gave me, the little blue thing that you squeeze, which worked fine too. But they didn't give me one this time. And I was like, oh, they don't like give me anything. They didn't do that. So I got this thing where you literally put this in their nose and suck, and it's a little bit easier where they don't cry as much when you put this in to suck. The snot just goes right in the tube, and then you can wash it right after. No, you don't get any snot. It closes it so you don't get the snot in your mouth. But this was something I used for only the first couple of months, but it was definitely needed because you can't really get that snot out. Burping cloths. You don't have to use burping cloths. These things I find with spit up, usually they get spit up on the floor no matter what. If I have a blanket, a towel, whatever, you're gonna get spit up. But they're great to clean up the messes. You could use a washcloth. These are bamboo. I think I had like 5 of them. And so I just use them on rotation, and then you just wash it. If your baby gets a fever, I use just a regular butt thermometer. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know. So for 17 years, I've had one that goes in the ear that we use on all of us, except for the baby, because it's not effective on a baby. So what you do is I use Vaseline, or petroleum jelly. I don't know if there's like a specific brand that you should do. So I just put it in, and then I stick it in, press the button, it gives the temperature, then you sanitize it, and that's that. So this was a need for me. My baby has had 2 fevers in the first year of his life. Diaper cream. One that I really like, I used the brand Diaper, a little tin with, it was like petroleum jelly, but it was for diaper rash. That was amazing. I loved it. It's gone. And then I also used the Honest diaper rash cream, and you could see I've used a lot of it. This I've had the entire year. So I used up the one little tin, and then all of this. You don't need to have so many different types of diaper cream. I also have baby powder that I use. It's the Burt's Bees brand. I don't know why I didn't bring that out to show you guys, but that is great for when you have a stinky diaper. Another thing, all 3 of my kids had cradle cap really badly, and I couldn't really fix it with the first 2, so I just kind of dealt with it. But my doctor told me to get Mustela, which is made with avocado oil, and it's really awesome. This is almost completely gone. Do not ever use sunscreen on your baby in the first 6 months of their life. Again, their skin will absorb the chemicals instead of protect them from the UV. It doesn't work like an adult skin. You can't expect it to function that way. It won't. But once they're about 6 months old, I would say even try 9 months old. You can use, what I like to use is Think Baby, free of harmful chemicals, it says. When I had my firstborn, I was gifted, I think I counted 25 or more. I forget what the number is. My mom might actually remember the amount. It was definitely over 20 blankets. Some were handmade. It was just like everyone wanted to give me a blanket. Guess how many blankets I used for that child? 2. So since then, I've only used 2 blankets. Now, I did make 2 quilts for Dane, and the really big one I have not used for him yet because it's just so huge. So that's just decorative, and I wanted to have it ready. But I did make him a smaller quilt that I just used from scrap fabrics that I had left over. Plus, one of my pen pals, I think knitted, not crochet, I think knitted. She's probably even watching this for all I know. She made this beautiful blanket, and I use this a lot for him too. I want to talk diaper bags. I feel like my diaper bag that I got is one of the most popular ones that I've seen like so many moms use. Now, mine is pretty much empty, and I'm going to tell you why. I barely use this. If I go somewhere where I need to bring the food or whatever, pack an outfit, a few diapers, the wipes, if you need to bring a blanket, and your food stuff or snacks. And that's all you need to put in this. You don't have to put a million things. I love the pockets for drinks. I actually put my own drink in the side and then his drink on the other side. I think that's great for the first 6 months. You really don't need it. Now, if you are pumping and you have a bottle, I understand maybe that's a little bit different for you. With all 3 of my kids, once they hit about 6 months old and I didn't have to carry a million things with me anymore, I started to use just a purse. So right now, I'm gonna just show you, this is a Patagonia purse. All I do is right here, I have diapers. I have 3 diapers. So this is 2. I'm gonna have to put another one in. 2 diapers and wipes. That's all you need. It's convenient, it's small. I am not someone who likes to use purses as it is. Let's talk toys. These are the only toys I had for the whole year, and one other thing that I'm going to talk about in a second. So these were the individual loose toys. Babies love to look at pictures in black and white, especially when they're really, really little. I think that he has now outgrown this. Now that he's a year old, he doesn't look at it as much as he did. He loved it when he started sitting up and he chewed on it. He loved this thing. It opens up. It's a little book. Teething toys. Okay. This is by Moonjax. This is great for, oh my goodness, he loved how this felt when he was teething, constantly chewing on this. He has outgrown all of these, but he definitely used this for the first 9 months or so. And then this is by Hape. It's wooden with silicone. This one is silicone. And this he absolutely adored. You could get this on Amazon. I actually saw another mom with it the other day, and I was like, oh. What I love about this is when they're starting to suck their thumb, if they do, and then he can suck on it while teething, but eventually they just hold on to whatever and they just chew. This was his most chewed toy. He loved this. We named it. We named it Pen Pen, all right? He loved this thing. And then stacking toys that are all silicone. They have numbers on them. Once in a while he still plays with this, but not as much as he had been. He always wanted to take one of these with him, and they just stack inside. My mom bought this for him as well, and I was like, I already have stacking toys. Something that a minimalist has to deal with is tell people like, I don't need this. But this is all cardboard and also a stacking thing, but he actually used this a lot as he got a little bit bigger as an older baby. So by the time he was maybe 8 months old, he switched to playing with this a lot, and he still once in a while will play with it. So after a year, it's still in use, and it has lots of pictures on it, and he chews on it too. And this is an educational game. When they're little, they just kind of like look at the colors. They can try to play with the balls by feeling them. There's a hole that they could put it in. After he understood it, he would put it in and he would roll them around. He has outgrown this now at 13 months old, but this he loved for probably 6 months. The reason why I wanted to talk about toys is because I have seen so many moms with a million toys, and you don't need hardly any toys. These toys occupied him for hours. and he was so happy with it. He also had an amazing play gym. It was in some of my videos. I'll probably put a clip so you could see what it looked like. So when he was a little baby, he would look up at it. I used a play gym for all 3 of my children in different forms. They had plastic ones in the beginning, and then they started to be a little mixture. They just loved it. And when they sit up, then they start to play with it and grab at it and teethe at it. I believe a play gym is a necessity. He no longer uses it, so they outgrow it quickly. Bouncers, I did use a bouncer for my first 2 children. Thought it was okay, but it takes up so much room, so I didn't get a bouncer this time around. I also had a swing for both of my first 2 children. They fell asleep all the time. It was amazing. A part of me wishes I had a swing for this one, but it took up so much room. And he was okay. He didn't really need it. As for cribs, I had a bassinet for the first 5 to 6 months for all 3. I had a mini co-sleeper that attaches to my bed for the first 2. I gave that to a friend later on. I also have a pack and play. I love pack and plays for if I need to go do something. You could use a crib for that too. So honestly, you don't really need a crib. If you have their own room, sure. We have a crib right now in the living room because he doesn't have his own room. And we could probably just use the pack and play. It would have been fine. But he'll need that crib for as he gets bigger, it could become a regular toddler bed and then an adult bed. So that will be used for all of that. The pack and play we will use for if we have another baby, we'll use the pack and play instead of a crib, and then we'll figure it out later on down the road. You really don't need all of the things. Again, I'm telling you from my experience, I was given a pack and play for my first 2 children. I just loved it. But we used the pack and play in our room for the past 6 months before we transferred him to being in the crib. Obviously, you need to have something for your car. So you could, if it's up to you, if you want to use one of the car seats that you could pull out and carry them. This was my first time having one. It was given to me. And for the first 2, I had one that just they used for their entire time of needing a car seat before they went to a booster seat. And it worked just as fine. I didn't mind carrying my baby to the car. Also, you need a stroller. I have 2 strollers. One was given to me. And the reason why I have 2 strollers is that one was a pram. So it's like a bassinet stroller. And because I was going for walks when he was really tiny, he didn't fit yet in the one that I use now. I used for his first 9 months, and then since then I've been using a jogger. And I work out outside a lot. He uses the stroller so much. They both got a lot of use. So for an infant, if you're going for walks, yes, you'll probably need a pram. Or you could do baby wearing if you don't mind sweating all over your baby when you walk. I'm a big sweater, so I couldn't do that. But I did baby wear. I had one that I wore him on my back for when I would clean the house, but you couldn't use that until they were about 8 months or so. And now I don't even use it. That was given to me as well, and it was great for that time. Otherwise, I used a Moby wrap, and I used a wrap for my second baby, and I loved that feeling of having the baby there. It was convenient for if I had to go food shopping, I would put the wrap on. I would actually put on the wrap and then drive and then just stick him in there when I would go food shopping. So that was a must for me. I also use a nursing cover, which I used for all 3 of my kids for when I'm in public. I know there are lots of discussions about public nursing. It's up to you what you want to do. For me, I like to be a little more modest and have privacy. I don't want people looking at my breasts. So for me, I covered my babies, and it was very thin material, breathable. I never used a fan for my other children. I work out outside for a whole hour multiple times a week. This thing, you can charge it, and it has 3 different speeds, and it goes on the stroller. I don't like having plastic things. I looked everywhere for if they had just silicone ones. They don't make them yet, so please, someone out there, make silicone fans. This has been a lifesaver, so my child does not overheat when I'm working out. When it comes to drinking, they start drinking around like 4 months old. It's up to you when you want to start that. So this is a silicone cup, has this really like a space for their nose for when they start drinking. They might not use this part for a while. This, I feel like it doesn't really hold it in too well, so I hold it still for him because I'm afraid he's gonna get it all spilled everywhere. But eventually I could take off the top and he could just use it as a regular cup, which is my plan. And this is a metal sippy cup with a straw. And I use this on the go with all the water, and it is great. I really love this. It keeps it cool. Some people out there, if you are not nursing, then you have to get a bottle. Maybe you're pumping. So that's all up to you. I had a whole bunch of pumping stuff for my firstborn. I was not able to pump at all. I was only direct nursing. And so on the spot, I donated all of my pump stuff. And since then, I've just been a direct nurser. For me, that was just the easiest thing to do. It was hard to nurse, but it was the easiest thing to do, to not have to worry about any bottles at all. And if you need to supplement a bottle here and there with formula, that is something that you might have to do as well. It's up to you, and you understand your baby and the needs of your child, and you're doing the best job you can for them. For feeding, we have a wooden high chair, which has been amazing. We had a plastic one for the first two that was adjustable, and it was great. It could lean back for the little ones. You don't have to feed your baby solid foods until they're 6 months old. So you could choose to have baby foods or make your own baby foods, but now he eats what we eat. This is all that I have for him. I have these silicone bibs. I always get washable bibs. Of course, you need, when they're drooling, a couple bibs. You don't need a million bibs for your child, just a few, just to pick up the drool here and there. And this is the bowl. This is a bamboo bowl that sticks to the table. And this is the spoon that came with it. I still use this all the time for him. This is all I had. You don't need to have so many different spoons and forks and all the things. And I didn't even get these for him until he was starting to eat. When it comes to clothing, I just want to say clothing, I only have, I think, 7 outfits for him right now. Now that he's a year old, I don't need a lot. He has 2 sets of pajamas and he has like 7 outfits. He's pretty fine with what he needs, just some t-shirts and some shorts, and that's all we put on him right now. But when a baby is born, they have a lot of spit up, pee, and poop, and it just gets all over the place. I'm sorry, it does. So I feel like a newborn needs the most clothes. Some people disagree with that, but seriously, between newborn and 3 months, I feel like you need the most, especially for someone that doesn't have a washing machine. I'm telling you, from all of that, all those issues, there were blowouts and so many things. I had to change their outfits sometimes 4 times a day. So for me, I needed to have several outfits. So I probably had like 25 onesies. So I'm just telling you, there is a lot of laundry in the beginning. It gets easier. As I just told you, at a year old, he hardly has any clothes. You don't really need shoes until they start walking. If it's cold out, then get little booties. I like to get, I don't know if they still make Robbies, but that's what I used for my secondborn, and they were amazing. For books, you don't need a million books. I went to a beautiful baby shower where they said, oh, everyone give a book, write a message, and we'll have it for our library. I did give them a book, but in the back of my head, it was their first child, so I get it. When it's your first, you go a little extreme sometimes. However, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, we used to have so many books for our kids, and I had a whole bookshelf filled with books, and I don't have those. I kept 1 book from my first 2 kids, and I still have that book, but now I have just a small amount of very well curated books. So little, and I go to the library every week and I get books to read to my baby. You don't need a million books, and keep it going. They will pick their favorites. I was talking to my mom the other day about some of my favorite children's books and just like which ones she even remembered me loving. And so it's like all those other books we had growing up, we didn't need, just the essentials, the ones that we loved. And I could name them. And then when we would go to the library when I was a kid, that was always fun too. Another toy that I got for Dane is the walker. You've probably seen it in some of the videos. He loves this walker. He still plays with it all the time. I had a walker for all of my kids and they loved it. For me, that was an essential thing. Some people feel like they're not safe. The one I have now is wooden. I had a plastic lion walker for my first 2 kids. I can't think of anything else that I really used over the past year other than those things. I hope my minimalist sustainable list has helped you in some way. Maybe you're a minimalist or you're about to have a baby and you're like, I don't want to have so much stuff. What I'm going to tell you, if you are going to have a baby shower, what I did was I told people exactly what I wanted. I had a list. I said, this is what I need. And because I already had understanding of what children needed, what babies need, my list was very specific, very direct. I said, this is the brand I need for diapers. This is how I feel. And people know that I care about that stuff. So I got every single thing on my list, which was a very, very small list. They have Amazon baby registries where you have to have like loads of stuff on the list and then they give you a discount on something or other. If you meet a criteria, you don't have to do that. You don't have to listen to what they are trying to do to get money. Okay? Only get what you really need. You don't need a million things for your baby. Your baby's gonna be fine. I live in a very, very small place, and with just having these little bit of toys, it was fine. Hold your baby, play with your baby, give them a wooden spoon, a pot and a pan, and they'll be happy for a while. Now that Dane is a year old and I realize he's not really playing with some of these toys now, I did buy one toy so far for the next stage, and it's a wooden car. And that's it. And he's been fine. I might have to get one other toy, but I'm gonna just go slowly. As I go along, I'm going to see what my baby needs, and I'm not gonna go crazy. So don't you go crazy either. I have seen mothers feel overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that they have for their babies, or the amount of things that are being offered for them to buy when it's their first time as a parent, especially. And I'm telling you, tell the grandparents, yo, cut it out. Believe me, you'll be stress-free and happier, and you won't have a messy house if you take care of just a little bit. I really have had no issues with what I have here. I hope this list helped you. Maybe there's something that I didn't say that has helped you that is essential for you, or maybe there's things that I have that you're like, no, you don't need that. And I would love to hear that. So thank you guys. Maybe you don't even have kids, but you have friends with kids and you could say what you maybe have bought them. So let me know in the comments section. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much.